Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build and run a SaaS. I'm Brian.
And I'm Benedict. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we work on our products and keep the lights on with consulting. Today is January 28, and I'm feeling energetic.
This is episode number 26, and I am feeling encouraged. All right.
Ooh, that's way more positive than last week.
Yeah, man. I must have sounded pretty discouraged or down last week because I got several very kind messages from listeners, which was really meaningful. I guess I didn't realize how discouraged I felt. But yeah, no, I got a couple of really nice notes. And so yeah, I ended up having a pretty good week as well, but we'll get there in a little bit. What's got you feeling so energetic?
Just that Jane and I are slowly getting into the rhythm of doing like full-time user list work. We started last week and this week on Monday with a call and basically planning the week and like setting goals and deciding on what tasks to tackle this week, and that starts to get into a nice flow, and that has me energetic.
Mm-hmm. I asked a little bit last week if there was a particular process or anything that y'all were following, but and you said no, that you're just sort of you're establishing your own rhythm and your own energy. Cool.
It's super simple right now. Basically, we have the call around lunchtime on Monday, so that leaves the morning for doing some planning, personal planning of like what do you think you can do this week, and then we discuss these things in the call and make decisions on what has to be done this week, and then basically head off and try to complete all these tasks within the week.
Yeah.
And yeah, so far it works well, but I mean, it's only been like 2 or 3 weeks that we do this. So.
Well, hopefully you can continue the momentum, continue feeling it. What tools, what's y'all's tool stack as a team?
We use Zoom for the calls. We have a Slack channel for ongoing discussions throughout the day and the week. Mm-hmm. And we currently use Asana for task management.
Okay.
And GitHub issues for bug reports, but that's about it.
Okay. Yeah. Just curious. I've been talking to a lot of people, and just always curious what their constellation of tools.
Yeah, it's this has been the setup since basically day one. I'm not entirely sure, especially with Asana, I'm not a huge fan, but also it works well enough. So
yeah,
right now moving to something else is probably not worth the hassle.
Got it.
Yeah.
I only have one client who uses Asana, and so I'm in there, a fair amount. I'm not a huge. And I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't dislike it the way that I actively dislike Jira, for example. just a soul-draining experience. But it does, every now and then it just feels like too much for a small team.
Yeah.
That's my experience of it. It could also just be the way that we're using it over here. Not trying to just blanket diss on Asana, but haven't been a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I think I agree. It works well enough, but it's also I'm not a huge fan. Yeah. It works well enough. It's not as big of a problem to justify looking for a different solution.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, at this point, it basically boils down to we're using two basically checklists with group by week, where we just put our tasks in, and then we have one Trello style board for product development where things move around. But yeah, that's about it. We only use a fraction of the features that are available in there.
Yeah, it seems like the the cool kid on the block right now is Clubhouse.
Yeah, I was thinking you'd say Notion.
Notion is great as a wiki. My opinion on Notion at this point, and I dove into it for the past, I'd say probably 2 weeks. My opinion on it is it's amazing for note taking and reference material. I don't love it as a to-do list or as project management.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't used it yet.
Yeah.
Just looking from the outside. Yeah. Have you used Clubhouse?
They announced this like great free plan for teams up to, I want to say 10 people. And so I checked it out. I'm 100% sure it was because of an ad on Build Your SaaS, and checked it out. And yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty good. I mean, it's, nice. I still just prefer Trello.
Yeah.
Project man, like simple small teams when you don't need points and time tracking and all this stuff. Like, it just makes so much sense. To do, doing, done, mention members, check off check boxes, keep it moving.
Yeah, I agree. I've been eyeing Clubhouse a little bit, but it's like for our current setup where I'm basically the only one doing product development and working on the product, it still feels like overkill. Like, yeah, I would probably spend more time in the tool, adding estimates and stuff, and then never reading them again. So
yeah,
I feel like it's at this point a simple checklist is good enough.
Yeah, that's where I tend to land as well. What else, man? What else is going on for you?
I signed a contract for the hotel for Femtoconf 2020. So
okay, great.
I'm happy to announce that it will happen May 8 to 10, 2020 in Darmstadt, Germany. And tickets will probably go on sale next week or the week after. So if you're listening and are thinking about joining, femtoconf.com for the mailing list. And you'll be notified. There will only be 25 tickets as last year. So it's a very small event and expected to be sold out pretty sure and pretty fast.
Nice. That's awesome. How long have you been doing Femtoconf?
This will be the 4th edition.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, right. It will be the 4th.
What's the background story? How did you start it, and what was the first year or two like?
It started out as so backtracking a little bit. A couple of years ago, I was doing a podcast together with my friend Christoph Engelhardt in German. So we had a similar podcast to this one, but in German. And
but your co-host could actually speak German.
What's that?
Your co-host could actually speak German.
Yeah, he actually could speak German.
And not accidentally sound Danish. Okay. So you're doing that podcast?
The problem there was that our audience was relatively small because of that. But anyways, we wanted to do a meetup, like just meet some of our listeners. And we did that the first year, like we ended up visiting one of our listeners who had like a big house and was renting out rooms, like bed and breakfast style.
Yeah.
And we basically rented all the rooms in his house and went to the forest and just spent a weekend there and had like a mini retreat. And the next year we want to do that again. And I was talking to Jane back then and told her, yeah, we're doing this mini retreat. Do you want to come? And she was like, yeah, sure. And I'm going to give a talk. And I said, interesting, talks. So like a conference.
Yes.
And that was the point where we decided, like a small microconf. And that's where it started. And we decided on the name Femtoconf. And basically just like microconf, just way tinier. And rented a conference room in a hotel and started selling tickets, and people actually showed up, and
that's great.
We had a good time. And that, based on that, we continued doing it like the years after, and this will be the fourth one.
That's great. How many people usually, or how many speaking slots do you usually plan for?
So it's usually 6 speakers. In the last 2 years, we had 4 like talks and 2 workshops. And I'm not entirely sure how it will work out this year, but probably similar. Like have one day of like more, just like talks with questions, and then hopefully have the second day with hands-on stuff. Last year, Christoph did a nice workshop. And we had someone else basically doing a workshop on like how to talk to your customers and stuff like that, and with some exercises and more like group participation, audience participation. And that's about it.
Cool, man. Well, good luck and congrats on another year of Femtoconf. Can't wait to hear how it goes.
Yeah, let's not congratulate me on this one. Until it's over and finished and
all right,
a success.
All right, fair enough. Congrats on taking steps towards making another one happen.
Getting the ball rolling.
Yes. Yeah.
That was like the main thing that happened last week.
What about that NPM package that you've been tinkering around on?
Oh yeah, that made some progress on that one. Like I said last week, spent the entire Thursday and Friday on this and actually made some good progress. It's a big learning experience. Like I screwed up a couple of things in the process again, but I guess I'm new to this, so that's to be expected. But the stuff that I wanted to get done last week is done and working. And I've got a couple more to do this week, and then hopefully early next week I can get it into the hands of one of our customers and get some outside feedback and get them to use it.
Cool. Good.
Good
deal, man.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady. Yeah. How you don't have to give any more specifics than you want to, but generally, how is like acquisition versus churn going for you right now? How are you feeling?
So acquisition has been a little bit slow over the last couple of weeks, but also there hasn't been any churn. So I guess it's balancing itself out. Okay. However, I feel like most of our churn, like if you just look at raw numbers like revenue churn, I think even in the past, most of that was people who forgot to cancel their trial and then got charged and then decided to cancel and usually asked for a refund.
Yeah.
So it feels like that's the majority of our churn. Of course, some of the long-time customers also cancel from time to time, but compared to the I forgot to cancel my trial people, it's almost neglected.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, I guess I can give a little bit of update of what I've been up to. Well, the first thing is, like I said, I must have sounded pretty down last week because I got some encouraging notes. Thanks again for that. But Thursday night, I went to this local product executive dinner down in Denver. Probably like 20-ish or so people, which is just like some product VPs and CEOs, CPOs around here that I got invited to I think like a year and a half-ish or so ago. So I've been going to that. And it was really good. It was one of those things where it was like, I did not want to leave the house. It was, 5:15. I was getting ready to just go fight traffic in Denver to look for a parking space and do networking. And at the end of the day, I was already tired. But I'm so glad I went. Talked to like this senior product person at Twitter, a co-founder of a a pretty big startup in Denver. A friend of mine who is there is actually a in product at GitLab, which is like 1,200 something remote employees. Like they are in the upper echelon of companies that are doing this right and kind of leading the way for everybody. And that was just really good. As people were like asking people what they're up to, and people would ask me what I was up to, and kind of, oh yeah, still doing the product consulting thing, to pay the bills. But I've really been interested in is remote work and exploring the challenges that managers and leaders of remote teams face, and challenges that employees face as well. And like the number of times that conversation would their eyes would light up, or like, oh yeah, man, totally. Let me tell you and they would like start sharing their struggles. It was just one of those feelings of like, this is where the energy is compared to going to those networking things and, talking about, jobs to be done, or, here's how I think MVP, early stage startups should build MVPs. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's interesting, Brian. Compared to the conversations that I'm having now with people around remote work, where there's a spark there. Mm-hmm. There's like this, the qualitative, like human energy. It's just like, all right, I can tell this feels different. And so, have had a couple of good things happening there, sent some follow-ups, and keep you posted on where those conversations develop. So what I will say, what I really want to, the approach that I'm taking with those follow-ups is not to try to sell Headlamp as a product, but to kind of find an inroad into some sort of advisory or consulting engagement around remote work, communications, onboarding, those things. So that's my approach. We'll see where they lead.
Yeah, that sounds good. Like a little bit like doing that, what we talked about last week, of trying to get a foot in the door there. Do you think
yes.
Is there anything looking good? Like are you making any progress on that, or just like getting the ball
still
rolling?
Pretty early? Yeah. Okay. I mean, the dinner was Thursday. I emailed them, Friday afternoon.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I'll follow up with them tomorrow. Today's Tuesday. We're recording this Tuesday. Y'all will hear this Thursday morning, but I'll follow up with them in another day or so, and just continue to kind of see. I gotta say, one hilarious thing that last time I went to this product dinner was like seriously 9 months or so ago. There were a couple people I met there and connected, like met them for the first time, connected on LinkedIn afterwards, like you do, and I use Meet Edgar for my LinkedIn content, just like putting stuff out. And when I walked in, introduced and like shook hands with this guy who I had not seen for 9 months, the words out of his mouth were literally, "I love you on LinkedIn," which I never thought I would hear in my entire life. So I guess I want to put that out there to say to people, sign up for a Meet Edgar account, create 60 individual pieces of content, and just let it work for you. Because people know your face and name, and there are all these sorts of things that we can complain about on LinkedIn. I get it. At the same time, if you're in the business of needing to sell things, do not take advice from people who don't like to sell things.
That's interesting. We had this discussion recently about like, should we be more active on LinkedIn? And everyone was like,
probably so.
We don't feel like doing it. I
know.
But like stories like this make me rethink this, especially if like smart to just use like Meet Edgar and basically not do it in person, but like let the machine work for you.
Totally. And then like everything, and just take from your existing content. It's all stuff that is like, you're not trying to sell anything. It's like, hey, here's a podcast you might like. Here's an article I wrote. Here's a thought that might help you out, and just let it go. And
yeah.
Anyway, that's just a sentence I never thought I'd hear in my life, and it gave me a smile.
Yeah, I can agree. That's unexpected, but kind of nice. But do you think that's because LinkedIn is too underutilized for this still? Like, it's still a pretty, at least it feels like, compared to Twitter and stuff, it feels like there's not much happening on LinkedIn.
Well, I mean, I think it just kind of depends on which circles you're in, but I think the reason that it's a lot easier, I think it's easier to stand out. All right, it's easier to be appreciated on LinkedIn, because for two reasons. One, I do think it's less saturated than Twitter. The other is that the majority of people are overselling and just like, me, I. And so if you just like make it a point of, hey, here's a podcast that I produced and talk to this person, they're brilliant, and here's what we learned. Think you might like it. And like, it's if all you do is give, then it's easier to stand out over there. But
that's interesting.
And give this a try. People, like for all the some people some people will complain about what the environment is on LinkedIn. Totally get it. I tend to ignore like a bit of some of those more cynical or like critical takes, because LinkedIn is a business networking, is a business social network, and people are there to, ideally give 9 pieces of value, and then one out every 10 times, hey, here's how I can help you, can we talk? That's fine. If you're in business and not willing to get pitched from time to time, that's nobody's fault but your own. So yeah, chances are good that you're probably not active enough on LinkedIn.
Yeah, if you're definitely true for me and for user list in general. I guess it's also true.
Anyway, there are whatever. I'll leave it there. There are easy and non-smarmy ways to stay top of mind with your network over there. So
yeah.
Here's another, like, it's a small thing, but it was random, and it felt like it just created like, oh man, I kind of needed this. I got this random email from a commercial real estate advisor in Denver who was like, hey, listen to your podcast on remote work, bright and early podcasts on remote work. Curious, I'll be in Boulder. Can we grab coffee? It's like, all right, that's interesting. So looked him up, and like, he's a for real deal commercial real estate. He's not like your neighborhood real estate, agent. It's like, okay, sure. And anything in particular you want to talk about? And he said, yeah, the thing is, it's like his clients are multi-million-dollar tenants, looking for office space in and around Denver and in multiple locations sometimes. And so, and a lot of them are startups. And he was saying, a lot of these people are asking me about remote work and what to do. So I'm just trying to get familiar on the topic. It's like, okay, let's talk. So we met up at this coffee shop on Pearl Street in Boulder, and it just felt really good, because like every question he had, I had an answer for. It felt like all the research and reading and everything I've been trying to pull together for months now, it just like boom, it just clicked. And so and I mean, it was I know that it was helpful for him. He's like, okay, yeah, I can totally see where this can go and what he can think about and put together for his clients, and we may or may not like collaborate on a thing or two. But yeah, it just, I think it was more of like a like a confidence builder, or like a good emotional boost to have that conversation. And yeah, it was cool. I mean, we basically have the same clients. They're just buying different things for us. Like
Yeah.
SendGrid in Denver is both of our clients, but it's because they're looking at office space. And for me, it's because, hey, you're looking at multiple locations, you're getting ready to have trouble with communication. I can talk to you about that. So, we'll see. Just like one small stretch of Lux surface area to make that.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
It's good.
I wonder if you got some free consulting out of you this way.
He definitely did. He definitely did.
I mean, but it's fair. To get the foot in the door, stuff like this is probably super valuable.
Yeah. I mean, it the fact is, right now, I don't have case studies and previous clients to point to be like, yes, Ray, remote work strategist, I can help you, think through and solve these problems that you're likely to have and benchmark yourself against best practice companies.
Yeah.
I don't have those case studies yet, but what this felt like for sure was, okay, yeah, I could definitely have charged for that coffee.
Yeah.
He came in with a ton of questions and I saved him months of time. I can charge for this. So that was really...
The question is, where do you find more people like that guy? Is there a way to, I don't know. I mean, he reached out to you, so makes it a little bit harder to figure out what to do there. But I'm going
to say, I think part of the answer is LinkedIn.
Yeah, maybe. Do you feel like?
No, I in all seriousness, I think it's going to be a lot of direct outreach.
Yeah.
But
it feels like it's an additional category of potential customers, right? I mean, so far, at least I've been only considering companies who either are remote or becoming a remote company. But this is more like someone not familiar with remote work at all, just needing some advice on this topic, even though they might not be a remote company and never turn into one, but just get some consulting on how to deal with this because it's a thing their clients have to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, my gut reaction to that is, I don't want to shift my focus to selling to people who are trying to become consultative experts on it, to their next level of clients. But
yeah, I see where you're coming from. But continuing that thought, is there? Okay. I'm not too familiar with how things work in the US like this. Is there some sort of chamber of commerce thing or something where you could give a talk on the topic or something like that?
Yeah, there are definitely plenty of professional networks that are not B2B SaaS startups.
Yeah, maybe that's a way to get started. I mean, it's a lot of work, but prepare a talk about remote work for people who are not yet familiar with the topic.
Yep.
And just
interesting.
I don't know, try to reach out to one of those networks and offer yourself as, hey, I'm coming over for a 1-hour presentation and Q&A on remote work. You provide a location and invite people and I'll be there offering my advice. Maybe that's an angle that will get you some exposure and maybe some consulting engagements.
Yeah. No, I think that's a completely legitimate angle to prepare a couple of presentations. Actually pulling one together already because I want to pitch it as an attendee talk at MicroConf, but to pull together a couple of those, and you know what, a really good one a great network to pitch it to would be all the co-working spaces in Denver and Boulder. I've given a couple of talks at Galvanize over the years. They'll host these lunch and learns, and they've been about product and customer interviews and jobs to be done and stuff. But go ahead.
But do you think co-working spaces attract the right kind of audience?
People who are struggling with working remotely?
No, more like people
who are
in
new
key
to
positions in big enough companies who are willing to spend some money on that.
Fair. Yeah.
Because I feel at co-working spaces, you just like find people like us who are somewhat familiar with the topic and already doing it. And probably still experience some of the problems, but are probably not willing to pay you to help them with that.
Yeah. No, that is a really great. That's a good question. Is my co-working space full of 2 like solo people, 3 and 7 employee companies who we've talked about here before? Like, I'm not necessarily sure. I don't think that they're not necessarily my client yet.
I mean, might be a good way to practice the talk, but
for sure,
for the consulting engagements, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. All right. I mean, okay. This is that would be the same exact pitch, same talk could be pitched to professional networks of real estate agents and Galvanize. I don't think it would not be that much different.
Yeah.
All right. I like this. I mean, I really like speaking and would love for that to be part of my sales strategy. Nothing would make me happier. Okay. I should jot this down as a to-do.
Yeah, just one idea.
Yeah.
Why haven't we thought about this earlier?
Can't think of everything at the same time. Yeah. That's the value of this practice. Just like the regular check-ins and documenting of it all. So let's see. Well, thanks for thinking through that with me and giving me some feedback there. Anything? Let's see. Anything else? Update-wise, you want to talk about?
No, not really. I think we covered most of what happened in the last week.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Well then, talk to you next week and see you.
See ya.